you've never done yin before, you're about to find out what it is. Yeah, I can explain it to you, or you can just do it, then you'll know. Yeah. Now, you'll see me looking from side to side. It's because I've got Hugh and Abby here. See me talking to them. You can say hello to them too. Yeah, see it, keep me company. And I have my stopwatch back here, so you'll be like, what is she looking at? It's just my timer so I don't unevenly cook you on both sides. I want to leave as evenly cooked as possible, yeah? So, to set yourself up, you're going to want something that resembles a yoga mat. Now, you might just want to use a blanket or put a blanket over the top of your yoga mat as well to make it nice and toasty. Some sort of block-like shape, so maybe a book or an actual block, something like that. And then just some cushions and some pillows, something that's like reasonably dense so you can lean into them so you feel like you can support yourself, because in the end we want to make ourselves as comfortably and uncomfortable as possible. You want to feel like the edge of the shape and be like, yep, I'm definitely stretching, but you don't want it to be like you're profusely swaying and you can't breathe. Yeah, that is too much. Do less. Yeah. So, let's get into our first shape. We'll come into child's pose, just like we did in our vinyasa. We'll start these off the same way. Kind of come into your child's pose. Now, depending on what your hips are like, you may come into a closed-knee child's pose, which means your knees come together. You stretch your arms forward, you rest your forehead down onto the ground. If you'd like a little bit more stretch into your hips, no dramas, you can just start wiggling your knees out from side to side. Maybe your forehead comes down to the ground, maybe your chin, depends on how you're feeling. Now I'm going to come out of my child's pose so you can hear me a little bit better, but please, you stay. Take a moment just to ground. Find our minds tend to move quite quickly. However, the body moves a little bit slower, so give yourself some time just to relax down into the shape. Can you feel the weight of gravity gently pressing you down into the ground? It's that really familiar and comfortable weight. And then allow the weight of your body to drop. The bones get heavy, the muscles that wrap around your bones start to relax, and it feels a little bit like you're melting into it. And you breathe. In our yin practice, you don't need to breathe in and out of your nose. You can breathe however you like. I just ask that you be aware of it. You can use your breath like a barometer to let you know where you're at. Generally speaking, if the breath is quite slow and it's smooth and it's easy, it's a sign that you're relaxed. If you're holding it and it's kind of sharp, a bit haphazard, it means that you're quite uncomfortable. So just use that as a point of awareness and see if when you are uncomfortable, if you can make yourself a little bit more calm just by smoothing the breath back out. Now pause here for just a couple more moments. Give your shoulders a little shrug. Give your bum a little wiggle back down towards your heels. We'll add just a little bit of side body extension here. So come right up onto your fingertips. Press them down. Walk the hands towards you. Tent up your fingers like little daddy long leg spiders. Yeah, so palms come up, fingertips come down. And then walk your hands across towards the right hand side of the room. And once you've walked your hands across, they might come off your mat, they may stay on your mat, just depends on how down through the sides your body feels. You can press your palms down. Nudge your hands a little bit further across and pull your left hip crease down and back. And you might ever so slightly nudge your ribs back over towards the left so it feels like you've drawn like a little quarter circle. Yeah, you got it right. And you can feel on your inhale, the ribs will pull apart. The muscles that wrap around them will stretch. And as you exhale, they'll knit back together. Just pause here, just for another minute. In practice, we generally stay in a shape for 3 or 4 minutes, and the reason why we stay for that length of time is because it takes about 3 minutes for your muscles to relax, and then it goes from being a muscular stretch into a stretch into your fascia. And I'll explain what fascia is a little later. But for now, just notice that after a certain point of time of being in these shapes, it's going to feel like there's this little kind of softening and relaxing. And depending on how you're used to moving your body, it might take longer than 3 minutes. If you haven't trained your body to relax, it can take a little bit longer. So you pause here just for one more deep round of breath. And tent your fingertips back up and moving nice and slowly. So you are in no rush. Walk your hands back through the center. And walk your hands over to the left. Nudging the hands a little bit further forward. See if you can get your right hand press a little bit longer than your left hand. And you lean into it. Allow yourself to stay. Breathe into your right side ribs, and you get to stretch all the way down through your right side stabilizers here. Get a little stretch into your intercostal muscles, which are the muscles that wrap around in between your ribs, and their job is to lift and move the ribs as you breathe, or it's one of their jobs. You get down into some of your side core muscles, into your obliques, into your QL. Right down into your lats. It's a good stretch. So see if you can just breathe into it. Notice if you're finding this quite easy, the breath will probably be full of fluid. If it's quite challenging, see if you can invite a deeper and fuller breath in. Stay for one more out breath. Breathe in deeply. Exhale fully. And walk your hands back into center. Slide the hands forward. Press down into the palms and just lift yourself up into the 4-point position. Shift your hips forward, walk your knees back, and let's come all the way down towards the ground, and we'll come into Sphinx pose. So, bring your forearms forward. Palms face down, either bringing your elbows right underneath your shoulders, or bring them a little bit further forward to make this a little less intense. And just think about taking your palms, press them down into the ground, and then imagine that the little sticky hands start to pull your chest forward, lift up through the crown of your head, but drop your shoulders down. The feet can come out wider if you like, if it feels okay. You can even make this into like a little crocodile type shape. For some of us, it's gonna feel super weird. That's okay, you don't need to do it. Just press into the top of your feet. Make any little adjustments. If you like, you can walk your elbows closer. If you would like a deeper back bend, you can either take your blocks or grab a bolster. I have quite a noodly spine, so I quite like doing this. Just check out how it feels in your own body. If you like, you can pop your elbows up on your bolster. Wheel yourself forward and you get a deeper back bend. Make any little adjustments so this suits your body. If you like, you can prop up your head. And let it hang forwards if you like, get a little stretch for the back of your neck. And we get about another 3 minutes here, so I'll start my timer. And your eyes down to close. And breathe. And I've noticed for my own self that when I have nothing going on when I'm in a shape like this, my mind does not like that. I like to be entertained. I have a very short attention span. I find it quite tricky just like to not do anything. So notice when the mind starts to wiggle and you get a bit kind of fidgety, you start kind of scratching and looking around the room. Can you give yourself permission just not to do anything? Yeah. You don't need to be entertained. You don't need to do anything right now. You really need to give your mind something to do. See if you can bring your awareness to your nose and you can feel as you breathe, the little nose hairs just kind of rustle in the breeze of your breath. And this is something where you've been feeling this sensation all of your life. So the mind filters out this information. Unless you intentionally choose to notice that you're probably not going to. So see if you can sharpen your awareness. Feel that kind of tickly sensation in your nose. Or if that is no bueno, perhaps just notice that as you inhale, the air comes in at a certain temperature. And then as you exhale, the breath comes out much warmer and a whole bunch more humid. Perhaps notice that instead. Going to be here too much longer. Let's take another 4 rounds of breath. Now, because this is a YouTube class and it is quite short, if you want to stay in any of these shapes for longer, absolutely go for it. Just click pause. Stay here for as long as you like. I'd say probably no more than like 12 minutes. I might be a bit much, yeah. Less can be more. If you want more, take it. Without feeling rushed, we'll come back down. So, if you're up on a bolster or you're on blocks or something, slowly start to wiggle yourself back. Slide your prop out from underneath you and just come down to lie flat. Allow the weight of the upper body to drop down into towards the ground and take one cheek over to one side. Take some deep breaths, notice the movement that it creates. And we just give it another moment so the curves of your spine can start to neutralize and come back to their natural curves. Because we put ourselves into one big back bend there, we allow that just to even itself back out. And while we're here on our bellies, let's take a chest stretch and a shoulder opener. We'll start with the left hand side. So take your left arm, I like to think of it as a wing. Take your left wing, stretch it out nice and long. Yeah, so it's kind of like a 90-degree angle with your body, but like this isn't geometry. It can be a little bit further forward. It can be a little bit further back. It's not a big deal, it'll just feel a little different. Then bend up your right elbow. Look towards the right hand side of the ribs. The elbow points up. Your right hand comes down underneath. It's kind of like a little lizard leg. And use that arm to start rolling yourself onto your left hand side. So your right shoulder, right hip stacks on top of the left shoulder and the left hip. Now personally, I like to bend up my right knee and drip that back behind me and place my foot onto the ground. That may or may not work for you. Maybe you leave your knee bent, but you drop it down to the side. Have a little rummage around here. The more you press into the right hand and stack onto the left side, the more intense this is going to be. The more you allow your chest to drop down towards the ground, the less intense it's going to be. So I'm going to allow you to pause here. I'm going to come out of it. But you stay. And breathe here. About 3 or 4 minutes, giving ourselves the full opportunity to stretch the muscle, but to also get into the fascia. Like I was saying before, fascia it's our connective tissue, and it's like the bag system of our body. It's like little compartment stuff which pretty much keeps everything where it's meant to be. If we didn't have fascia, nothing would be lined, nothing would be held together, and like all of like our internal organs would be down in our legs, it would become like a little puddle, right? So it holds us up. And the most accessible analogy I've ever heard for this is, it's like we're an orange, right? I'm sure you're all familiar with oranges. So you have the skin on the orange, that's like our skin, yeah? And if you're to cut back your orange, just underneath the skin there's this like kind of slippery white layer-like tissue underneath it. That's like our fascia. So it's got this like lining, it's white, it's kind of stringy, and it wraps around everything. So it wraps around our bones, wraps around our organs, wraps around our blood cells, yeah? From the biggest stuff in our body down to like the smallest stuff, right? So even like our muscle fibers, they're wrapped in fascia as well. So if you were to go back into the orange, if you were to cut the orange open, you start to see that there are these big segments that are wrapped around in this kind of white stuff, yeah? Same thing happens with us. If you were to open up that orange segment and look inside, lo and behold, there's more little pockets of stuff wrapped with this same goo, right? Same thing with us. Just wraps around everything, goes through everything. It holds us together. Yeah? And what can happen, if we don't stretch often enough, we don't move, the fascia starts to tighten, it starts to shrink, and we can end up with fascia in our body, which is a couple of sizes too small. Similar to if you take your favorite jumper, it's made out of wool, and then you wash it on hot, and then you put it in a tumble dryer and you tumble dry it for too long. It's like that. You put it on, you're like, oh, this is too tight. This is unenjoyable, and it feels kind of weird when you move around. Same thing with our bodies. Does that make sense? Blink twice if that makes sense. Yeah. Like that's like a general kind of broad, paint with a pretty broad brush overview of what it is. So you're not just doing this for your muscles, you're doing it for the connective tissue. Okay. I'm just going to stay here for about another 4 rounds of practice. And slow the breath down, so you don't want to rush out of this one. You take your time. I'll come with you to do this. And then slowly start to lower yourself back down. Back onto your belly. Stretch your right arm forwards. So we'll do the left side again, but we'll do the back of the shoulder. Press down into it. Pick up the left forearm, and now we thread it underneath us. Aha. So it's like a little straight jacket. A one-arm straight jacket. Take a block or something, a pillow, just to prop up your head. That can be quite nice. And you can be quite far onto the left-hand side, but you're going to get more sensation if you roll right onto your chest. Yeah. For less sensation, you stretch the right arm forward. It creates a little bit of support. For more sensation, take your right arm down by your right side. Okay, getting your breath in. Full out, allow yourself to melt. Make any little adjustments so it suits your body. Because we're not trying to cookie cutter our way into these shapes, we're making little adjustments so they suit us. And you stay. And sit. So again, keep an eye on the time. You're just looking for a stretch through the back of your left shoulder. As a point of inquiry, just to find more awareness, did you find the first shape that we did, our open wing, was that more intense? Was there kind of tighter sensations here? Or as you come into the closed wing, is that tighter? It just depends. Just depends on your body. I know for myself, this one I find much more challenging. Just depends on how we move our body, how we stand, how we climb. One more minute here, see if you can invite yourself to be still. Now if you need to move because, say, you've got pins and needles, come out of the pose. If you need to readjust so you can find that sweet spot in this shape, absolutely do that. But if you are comfortably uncomfortable, see if you can just invite yourself to be still. Just for like another 45 seconds. From the outside looking in, looks pretty easy. However, if you've ever spent a good amount of time in a pose, you'll know it's definitely not. Enjoy your last round of breath here. Breathe in. And then breathe out. And we make our way back out of the shape, so right arm comes back down by your side. Press down into it, unravel the left arm. And personally, after that, I like to make like a little pillow with my arms, prop up my head, and just gently rock your hips from side to side. Take a moment to notice that your left shoulder, the entire shoulder complex, so collarbone, the arm bone, and your shoulder blade, they're all feel a little bit different now. Your arm bone, yeah, it's called your humerus, your arm bone. Okay. Let's do the other side when you're ready. So, back onto your belly, put your warrior there. You do the right hand side, so stretch out your right wing. Your left elbow points up towards the ceiling. Allow your head to drop down. So allow yourself to get heavy. And do your best just to leave your right shoulder on the mat. Start to roll over onto the right hand side. Left knee can bend up, it can drift back, it can land on top of your left thigh, whatever works for you. If you can kind of come forward a little bit, that's okay. If you find though that you come up really high, yeah, just do less. It's just a sign that your pec muscles are quite tight. So congratulations, you have strong chest muscles, but they're not the most flexible. So get a little lower, a little less. Don't overdo it. So ideally in these practices, we only go about maybe somewhere in between 70 to 80% of your range. You don't need to do more than that. Start the timer so I don't leave you here forever. And you get 3 minutes here. Question I always ask myself in this practice is, can I be calm when I'm uncomfortable? Can I still breathe? Can I not let my mind get snappy, kind of pointed? Can you be more relaxed? You may already notice, does your right hand side feel tighter than your left hand side? If your right arm dominant, almost certainly yes. But how so? You get another 2 rounds of breath here. Come out of this really slowly, so just little piece by little piece. Come back onto your belly. Bend up your elbow, take it forward just so you can lift yourself up and take your right arm. Pull it in front of you. Now wiggle from side to side. Any props that you need, grab them. Okay. Don't mind as I laugh to myself. Lower yourself in. You can either leave your left arm forwards, pop it up, or take it down like so. Pause here for a little while. I think I said this earlier, but if you get pins and needles, just gently bring yourself out. Just do it for a little bit, and then when your body's like, hey, this isn't any good for me anymore, come on out. Yeah. the mind is wandering, and it pretty much always is. That's what your brain's designed to do. Bring it back. Anchored in this moments by paying attention to your breath and paying attention to the sensations. Just a little while longer here, so allow yourself to savor it, allow yourself to get heavier. Take another 4 rounds of breath. Count them as you go. Make sure you stay for all of your inhale. All of your exhale. And use the full capacity of your lungs, so don't shortchange yourself with these like stingy short little breaths. Allow them to be deeper and fuller. And you come back out, taking the left arm out first. You just come out the same way that you came in. Slide the right arm out from underneath you. Maybe take 2 arms down by your sides and take one cheek down to the side and wiggle your tail. Do you feel a little bit more in balance now? Yeah. No longer feel like you're slowly like carrying to the left. Allow your shoulder blades just to pull apart a little bit as you gently round through the upper back. Yeah. Almost like you're nice and heavy. See how we do. Okay. We'll do one last shape. Take your hands down to the ground. Tuck your toes, press into your knees, lift yourself back up. We'll come into easily one of my favorite shapes, do it all the time, is a reclined Supta Baddha Konasana. So take something that's kind of like this shape. Cushion, a couple pillows, pile of books. It might be a bit hard, but turn around. Slowly your feet come together, your knees drop out wide. Okay, just jiggle or wiggle. And your bum stays firmly on the ground. Yeah. You walk yourself back. You like move the top of your bolster and stretch 2 arms out wide. See how that feels. Maybe you take your arms up and over your head and you hold onto the elbows. That can also feel nice. It gets right down into like my underarms, but it might feel different for you. It just depends. We'll just rest here for a little while. the level of stretch that's coming across the front of your hips doesn't feel very good, you can always take something and pop it underneath your knees just to give it a little bit of extra support. Mind is wandering, bring it back. Turn back into this moment, come back to the sensations. And we'll just stay for another 4 rounds of breath. If you'd like to stay for longer, you're absolutely fine. Time. Come back out. Hands come down by your sides. You can use your hands just to draw the legs back together. Roll yourself off the side. But slowly. Don't try to like drop yourself off the edge. A moment to rebound down your side. Had some props underneath you, just roll them out of the way. You can actually slide them down underneath your knees, and we'll use that for our final resting pose, Savasana. That's in my opinion, that you can never be too comfortable in Savasana. You can do whatever you need to do. Yeah? If you need more layers on, throw more layers on, socks, jumpers, add props in, like you might roll forward. On end, you need. We'll just lie ourselves back down. Yeah. The classic variation of Savasana is you have 2 long legs. Come out wide, toes splay out wide. Arms come down by your sides, away from your body and the palms face up. But if you can think of something that's going to be more enjoyable, then do that instead. We're all individuals, we have different legs, we have different bodies, so naturally none of these shapes are going to look exactly like someone else's. Allow there to be as much variation as you like here. Unapologetically. Once you're comfortable, take a deep breath in. A full breath back out. And we'll just stay here for a little bit. take a deep and intentional rhythm breath. If you'd like to stay longer, you know you can. Otherwise, start to bring movement back into your body, your fingertips. Scrunch toes. Bend up your knees, draw them in towards your chest, give them a nice big squeeze. Roll into a little ball on one side. And use your arms, make your way back up into a seat. And cross your legs, or you might like to tuck them underneath you. Hands is lean one into the other, and you feel the warmth in between the two of them. Feel the texture of the two palms. And thank yourself for taking time out of your day. It's not always easy, I definitely know that, especially if you're at home. Whatever you created for yourself on your mat today, take that with you into the rest of your day and allow it to send ripples into your day tomorrow. Deep breath in through your nose. Full sigh out through your mouth. Bowing forwards in mutual respect, we say Namaste. Namaste.